All right, guys. So Steph has been so nice to tell us that she'll do this. She's just coming off of vacation and super busy. And we actually met because she had posted in this group that's on Facebook called the Beachbody Study Group and was asking about some personal development stuff. And I recommended Gabby to her. Whoa, I thought I muted all, but maybe not.
Sorry.
If you're not muted, mute yourself, please. All right. So I had recommended Gabby to her, and I mean, this team, Steph, were just all like Gabby freaks. So, and I was actually just listening to her on YouTube before I jumped on here. But she fell in love with her just like us. And so we started chatting over that. And then we started talking about some like success partner stuff and all that jazz. But she is amazing. She's a total rock star in this business. She is an 11-star diamond, 3-time elite coach. She is a member of the CAB, an executive leader on the leadership ladder, an SE legend. You've been in there for a lot of months. I just saw your post that you did the other day. And she is also in, we're calling it the Million Club now, or is it the Million Club now, not the Millionaire Club now, just so you guys all know there was a name change. But that is pretty badass. And so we're really, really lucky to have her tonight and sharing with us. And we chat a little bit about what she'd be talking about, but I think she's just going to share some of her story and then some tips for you guys. So do you want to take it away, Steph?
Yeah. It's always awkward listening to like your own accolades, but I love that we do that, you know, when we share these exchanges and we guest speak on each other's team calls and stuff, because I think it's so cool to meet other leaders and other even newer coaches up and coming in the network, to hear like what they've accomplished. And I'm going to kind of tie all that stuff into what I'm going to talk to you guys about tonight. But I'm glad Joan told you guys how we met, and she's been such a wonderful support. I'm sure she didn't expect to be like part therapist, part, you know, success partner, but it's been kind of a roller coaster for me this year, these past few months, and she's just been the best. So I appreciate you, Joan, and it's awesome to speak with you guys tonight. And I was supposed to a few weeks ago, but I'm glad that we could rain check and make it work tonight. So we just got back from a vacation, and it was wonderful. And what I love about this business is you can work it from anywhere, right? And it's funny because that trip that we went on, it's a family cabin up in Wisconsin on a little lake called Lake Beulah. And I've been going there since I was a baby. And I posted the other day because I just was sort of reflecting on the trip and remembering how 3 years prior, so this is the third year that we've gone in a row now, and we try to go every year now. It was tough when I had 3 little ones, and my youngest is 4 now. So before that, it was just hard to get there. But 3 years ago, we got there, we drove from Arizona all the way to Wisconsin. It was like a 3-day trek up there because we couldn't afford plane tickets. I mean, we probably could have, but it was just stretching us way too thin, and it just was stressing us out. And so, you know, it's one of those full circle moments where you can really look at this business and go, wow, you know, like if you really just stick in there, amazing things can happen. So it's kind of what I'm going to talk about tonight. So you heard that list of accolades, and it, like I said, makes me feel awkward hearing that stuff, but it's part of this business. It's stuff that, you know, it's those kind of keywords like, oh, such and such star diamond, or such and such leader on the executive or the leadership ladder, that we recognize, right? You know, it's these achievements that you can pinpoint, like, okay, if this person achieved that, they probably did this. And I think a lot of the time, like Joan and I were talking earlier, we hear things like 15-star diamond and 10-star diamond and Million Club, or, you know, whatever. And you just think like, oh, you know, stuff must have happened real easy for that person, or they must hit, you know, Success Club 25 every month, or some crazy numbers, right? I think of like the top 10 who are pulling in like 30 to 50 coaches a month, and that just blows my mind. I feel like a lot of coaches, even my own coaches who know me really well, assume that we have to do these big, grand, you know, humongous numbers to achieve really big things in this business. And I just want to like blast that open and show that that's not true. You can, I mean, I think that it's an amazing goal. If you are aiming for that top 10, if you're aiming for the, top 50 leaderboard, you go girl, you go boy, like if there's any guys listening, but that just wasn't me. I remember my coach, Brandy Botts, we go way back. She's a dear friend, and she sponsored me into this business, and she asked her team when it was way smaller than it is now, what do you guys want? Like, do you think you're A, B, C, or D? And it was kind of like, you want to be, on stage, top 10, like on the top 10 trip, you want to be this. It was kind of like, the top, like big, huge, fancy goal. And then all the way down to sort of, like, I just want to, do my thing. And I was like D. I was like, whatever the last one was. I'm like, that makes me nervous. I don't really want that. Now, I think that there's a really fine line between setting really big goals and not setting goals at all. So hopefully this will all make sense by the end of this Zoom. I'm a rambler and a total tangent teller, so just bear with me, you guys, if I ever go off on a tangent. But the point of all of that is that there was never any big, grand, amazing, like, I was never a top recruiter. I was never a top Success Club point earner. None of that. It was just plain old consistency. My first year in the business, let's see, I signed up in October of 2012. So kind of the end of the year, it was sort of that lull, had little kids. So I hit Success Club my first couple of months, and then December rolled around. If you guys have been around in winter time, you know what December's like. And it's kind of like, okay, like I'm just going to put this on the back burner and I'll come back to it in January when it's fun again or when it's easy again. Big mistake. That was the 1 month in my entire coaching career that I didn't hit Success Club. And that was really what lit a fire for me. So it wasn't really until January of 2013 where I was like, okay, I know what I don't want to do in this business, and I know what I want to achieve in this business. I don't know if we're Facebook friends. I see lots of beautiful faces and names. So I'm not sure if a lot of you guys know my story, but when I got into Beachbody, I had done a challenge group. So, that was cool that I had that way to base my business off of. But I finally was starting to see the big picture of this business. I watched my friend Brandy do this stuff. She went 2-star in like a few months. She was just like killing it, So I thought, well, if this girl could do it, I could maybe do it too. Maybe not do it like how Brandy's doing it, but I could make it awesome too, and we really needed the cash. Like I think a lot of people talk about the financial aspect of Beachbody, and there's a little bit of shame or a little bit of like shyness when it comes to that. And I tell my team all the time, I was 100% driven by the financial opportunity because I needed to be. That was my why. My husband was a professional baseball player, and he didn't get a call. There was just one day where he just didn't have an opportunity to play anymore. Neither of us graduated from college. Here we were with 3 little kids. We had just put our house on the market in Florida, and it was not selling. 2008, total recession, right? So everybody was getting hit. It was just a bad time all across the board. So we moved to Arizona. We had this new baby. We were not having an income. It was probably almost 2 years where we were completely incomeless, and our house still was sitting on the market. We were paying our mortgage and a rent in Arizona. So paying our mortgage in Florida, paying our rent in Arizona, and just like draining our life savings basically because we had nothing coming in. And we finally put our house up for short sale, and we short sold our house, which killed our pride. It was my husband, just he wanted to provide for his family and he just wasn't able to. And I felt completely helpless. It was just this total pivotal moment where I just completely crumbled. I didn't know what to do. And meanwhile, I was in this challenge group and I saw this opportunity, and Brandy kept offering it and kind of dangling it in front of me. And I was like, no, turned her down for 6 months. So side note, never give up on somebody because maybe they're your next coach who just kills it. You never know. Don't ever give up on somebody. So I finally said yes because I just was ready to make a change. I was ready to not be waiting around for somebody else to come and rescue us. And I saw the opportunity. So that was my main focus, to dig us out of debt, to bring an income for my family of 5. I needed to. So I just made that happen. And so from really January 2013 to the following year, I finished elite, 5-star elite in my first year, and which was huge. It was a total whirlwind, and it was all very simple. I still laugh because I talk to coaches about, how do I hit elite? Like, tell me what to do if I want to hit elite, if that's my goal. I'm like, well, you need 5 diamonds. And then I tell them what my coach Brandy told me was, well, you just need about 5 people, your PS coaches hitting Success Club. You need to hit Success Club. And really that's about it. Like, really that was it. That's elite in a nutshell. And so I was like, okay, I feel like I could manage that. Control the controllables. That's one of my little tips that I'm going to share with you. So I knew I could control hitting Success Club. So that was the main thing that I focused on every single month. I knew what it felt like to not hit it in December of 2012. Knew I was never going to feel that again. And it was pretty much, the rest is history. It was just Success Club every single month, teaching my coaches how to hit Success Club. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And that's really what happens. And so all of those things, my first year in the business was really like, okay, Success Club 5, maybe 10 in a good month. But you guys, I'm not even kidding you. Like I didn't see Success Club 12 or 15 until I was probably like 2 years into the business, until I was really starting to build that kind of attraction marketing. So I really did the very, very basics. It was just running those challenge groups, keeping people on HD, because I knew how valuable those $32, right? You guys know about those, $32 every time one of my customers' HDs went through. So I knew if I supported them and helped them see the importance of Shakeology and the challenge groups, that they were going to stay on Shakeology HD, and that was going to be money in our pocket, in our bank account that we needed. So I was killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I was helping people, which is the core of this business, right? Which I think we've all sort of gotten away from as a network, and we'll talk about that too. But really keeping it simple and controlling what I could control. So with all of that said, all of those little things, hitting Success Club 5, maybe 10 on a good month, added up to what you guys see now, which I'm like, I don't know how it happened. I'm sort of a mess. Joan knows that. But you don't have to be like the best at this. You don't have to be the top recruiter. You don't have to be the top Success Club point earner, the top challenge pack salesperson. You don't have to rank advance every single month. You are great. You are relevant. You are amazing, regardless of all of those things. But as long as you're just focusing on what you can control, the rest will all fall into place. And I feel like I'm living proof of that. So I feel like I rambled there, but I've got like 5 little tips. I hope you guys, this is it. Like, this is what I have to offer, the meat of it, So we talked a little bit about it already, but I want you guys to leave tonight with some tangibles, some things that you can really look at and be like, okay, Stephanie said that's it, so I guess it must be it. So write this stuff down, okay? So number 1, and please excuse any of the background noise, 3 kiddos out there being very loud. So number 1 is show up every day. And I see this all the time. I see coaches with so much potential who are like hot 1 month, and then next month life gets kind of busy, and they don't show up. And if that's you, I'm calling you out. If that's you, I love you, but you can't do that anymore. You can't. And the reason being is that you're the CEO of your business. It's not Joan. It's not your PS upline coach. It's not your downline's fault. If you're not physically showing up every single day, carving out those hours or that time, whatever time you have to offer, and I'm going to go off on a tangent about that in a sec. Those are your business hours, and that is what you need to commit to every single day. That's just it, especially in the building stages. And I always say I'm still in the trenches too. Like, I'm still out there like hustling for Success Club points too. So I get it, you guys. And the beginning is the tough part, because you're building that foundation. You're really laying those building blocks for the rest of your business. And so if you want the freedom to go on trips and just have your laptop and your smartphone with you, like Joan and I get to do, which is great. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, like, we both put in the time, and that's the main part of that. So my tangent there is, I just talked with my team about this recently, because it was just one of those observation moments where I said, it was like I know what the burnout feels like. I know what it's like to like go real hard, like I'm pushing for rank and I'm, you know, go mode where you're on all the time. And it's like you just kind of reflect after that push season, you know, that season in your business of like high activity, and you're sort of burned out and you sort of resent the business a little bit. So my biggest suggestion is like pick a pace. So tie this in with show up every day. Pick a pace that you can commit to all the time. Yes, we have these moments or these seasons of hustle. I think that's so important when you set a goal. Like if you guys are aiming for elite, it is not too late in the year to aim for elite. I have had coaches, personally sponsored coaches, who make the decision to push for elite in July and they end the year elite. So do not ever count yourself out. You can be diamond right now and you can be 5-star elite by the end of the year. Okay, I'm putting that out there. But you got to show up every day and you've got to pick, you know, that chunk of time that you can really commit to. 5 to 8 hours a day. Why? You don't need to do that. You can get all your stuff done in like a power hour. Got a national wake up call on that if you want to listen to it. Your power hours, it saved me when I was new in the business. It just like break it down. What do I need to be doing? What do I need to accomplish? If it's going to take you 2 hours because you want to go the extra mile, or maybe 2 hours in the morning and 1 hour when the kids go to bed or after work or whatever your schedule looks like, then make it 3 hours a day, but do it every single day. Really commit to that. So, and don't pick a pace that you're just going to end up burning out on. So that's number one. Number two is keep it simple. We talked a little bit about this, control the controllables. So we all know about Success Club. We all know about challenge groups. I talked a little bit about, I feel like the network as a whole has sort of gotten away from the basics and really the core of the business. And I think we're all doing a really good job of consciously coming back to that right now. And I feel it, and it feels really good, because when I was a new coach, it was like, that's all we had. We just had challenge groups. We didn't have coach basics, and we didn't have all the frills and the fluff that there is now. It's great that there's all that info, but if you're feeling stressed out about all that fluff, cut it out. Like, you just pretend like it doesn't even exist. What you need to worry about is running amazing, like legit challenge groups every single month. Put it on the board. Make sure you're showing your own progress. Like, we're our own billboard, right? So if we're not progressing, people do watch. They do notice those things. So your fitness is a priority. Empower your challengers and mold them. Those are your future coaches. So I definitely, in myself, recognized that I was kind of going down this path of like recruit. And it's like, that's great. I have some coaches who I recruited like cold, you know, they came from social media. They're like, I want to build this business like you. And then you sort of have to teach them everything. And that's doable. You can. And I have some coaches who've gone on to be very successful in that way. But I will tell you that the easiest coaches to train and to show the business to are the ones who come from challenge groups. And I'm speaking from personal experience, because when I signed up, I was like, okay, I know what to do. You know, they just get it. And so if you're running those amazing challenge groups, you're going to be empowering those people before they even realize that they're on your radar as coaches on your team. So, you know, I also, you know, just as a little side note, prove people wrong. Like, I feel like there are so many people who get involved with network marketing these days. It's changed a lot in the last like 3 to 4 years. There just wasn't all of this going on. There wasn't like essential oils and Unique and LuLaRoe or whatever they're called. And there's so many these days. And so I feel like network marketing, you sort of have to really hang in there, because there's a lot of like stigma right now, because there's so many moving parts. But prove people wrong. Like, if nothing else, let that be your fire, you know, like, I'm going to show people that this is the real deal, that I'm the real deal, that Beachbody is the real deal, and I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to build this business. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to show that the products work. So that was a huge motivator for me, because I knew I had those naysayers who were like, oh, let's see, you know, she'll just quit this like she did everything else. But I didn't. I hung in there, and you guys can hang in there too. And I feel like that really adds to the glory when you get to celebrate those big achievements in your business, and you're like, haha, you know, like proving you all wrong. So it just feels really good. So that's number two. That was kind of a loaded one. Number three is visualization every single day. And it's funny because I wrote that down. I realized like I was doing that sort of before I even realized I was doing that as a new coach specifically, but kind of even before coaching too. But specifically in coaching, I'm sitting in the culmination of all the visualization that happened. This house that we were able to build because of Beachbody and because of this business is what I visualized. Like, I was able to give my family a home to live in. Like, how crazy is that, you know? And I believe so strongly in the power of visualization. If you guys are Gabby fans, then you know that she preaches this too. So that's so huge. And if you have a why, which I hope you guys all do, and if you don't, really, really work on development of your why. But that fueled the visualization for my business and my life and where we are today as a family. So you have to visualize, like, what do you see when you wake up? What do you see your life as in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, like big picture stuff? Don't be afraid to set those big goals and be like, I'm going to have, you know, my house, and then I'm going to have a house in Lake Tahoe too. Like, why not? Like, who cares? Just put it out there. Like, if you don't put it out there, it's never going to be out there. Then it will never be manifested. So, you know, you're in control of those thoughts. And if we make them big and great, then we have no other option than to just go after it eventually, right? So visualization is so key. Number 4, challenge yourself to do something uncomfortable 5 times a week. I really just wanted to add that in there because I feel like we get really kind of stuck in a routine as coaches sometimes. We're like, I'm going to post a sweaty selfie, and I'll post the before and after, and then I'll do the transformation Tuesday, and then I'll do the, you know, whatever Thursday. There are so many. But do something out of your comfort zone. Like, sometimes during that power hour, like, message that person who you're watching on social media and you just know they would be so amazing either in your challenge group or even on your team. Like, just really like out there, like, hey, I know we've never talked about this before, but I just want to like tell you, you would be so amazing at what I do. And maybe they'll shoot you down and say no, but you know what? You planted that seed and you got super uncomfortable, and maybe you won't get to reap that harvest for like 6 months, 12 months. I've had people who we've been chatting back and forth for 1 year to 2 years, and then they finally sign up as a coach, or they finally like buy a challenge pack and get into my challenge group. So don't count people out, but also don't be afraid to plant that seed with somebody, because they remember that and they're watching you. And that's another, you know, circle back to that prove them wrong, prove them right too. You know, prove that this is the way to go, that I'm doing this, you can do this, like we can all do this. There's so much power in that, and just like showing how legit this really is. So let them follow your story. You know, once you've planted that seed, they're going to probably pay a little bit of extra attention to you. So whatever that uncomfortable thing is, maybe it is posting your before and after. Maybe you've never done that before. Maybe you do need to really share some results and put yourself out there. Do it. Like, get a little bit scared, get a little bit uncomfortable. I know how it is. Like, you're like, okay, I posted. And then for like the next hour, you're like refreshing Instagram, like, who's liking it? You know, does anybody like it? And it feels good. So do it, because it's the best feeling, very liberating. And number 5, stop looking at this business as a sacrifice. I think that it's really easy to get in that rut where you're like, oh, I have to do such and such, or, you know, I have to hit Success Club. If you're finding yourself falling into that, maybe look at it a little bit differently. You know, maybe look at hitting Success Club as the fact that you really touched 3 people's lives, at least, right? That's Success Club 5. You helped 3 people. So set a new tone for yourself if you're sort of tired of looking at Success Club the same way. And your power hour, it's not a sacrifice. It's building something so beautiful that you can't even like see the end result yet. And there really is no end result, right? If we want to get technical, but you know, that 3 to 5 year plan down the line. And we say on our team a lot, be here in a year, be here in 2 years, like be here in 5 years. If we're doing the same thing and we're really committing to that doable schedule every day, it's never going to feel like a sacrifice. It's going to start to feel like your daily life. And then you're going to start to look back and be like, oh my gosh, I just had my first $500 paycheck, or whatever it is that would be hugely life-changing for you. all of those things happen because of finding the joy in this business and making it really amazing and making it work for us. It doesn't have to be, your business doesn't have to look like somebody else's business. It can look like however you want it to look, and you can get whatever out of this that you want to get out of this. And I'm telling you that, like, I'm not even kidding. This can be whatever you guys want. So whatever you do in this business too, to close up before we do some, sorry, I'm having like all these little pop-ups. Give yourself some grace too. Like, this isn't going to be the perfect ride. This isn't going to be, you know, textbook. There are going to be bumps in the road. Joan and I can both attest to that. Even just in the last like 4 months, this business will throw you for a loop, and it's okay. You can be sad about it. And you'll pick up the pieces and you'll move on. And then there will be something that will like knock your socks off, be so great that if you didn't pick up the pieces, you would never get to celebrate that next big, huge, amazing thing. So it's so worth it, you guys. And I hope that you all stick around and tough it out. And that you're going to be at Summit because it's going to be amazing. And I think that's it. What should we do? Questions?
Yeah.
I'm like terrible at ending. So I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm done.
No, that was awesome. I think that there are a few comments in here that people were just loving the call. I have a couple questions for you. And if you guys want to type in something into the chat, I'd be happy to ask them for you. I love that. Just make it doable. Like, just choose a schedule that's like doable for you, because I so relate to that burnout. Because like the first year I was doing this, like, you know, like Stephanie, I went, 6-star elite my first year, and that's not easy, guys. That's like balls to the wall, like constantly working your business. And so it isn't something I think that is sustainable for more than like a year or two. And you get that burnout, and then you're like, where did all my momentum go? Where did all my motivation go? Like, why does this not feel the way it used to feel? But the key is just getting right back to that, doing what is a doable schedule every single day, and you'll still be making Success Club. You'll still be pushing your business forward. You'll still see your paychecks increasing. And like, if we really want to boil it down, it is like income is a huge part of this and why people are doing it. If you weren't making money, would you still do it? Maybe some people, because it's fun and it keeps them accountable. But most of our whys, it actually, it's income that helps us create the why. So again, financial driver, that was my driver too. I was like, I want out of my job. I want lots of money. I want to travel. So, one question I had for you, and this is just because you spoke about it at Leadership last year, and I think you just posted something in the wall the other day about it too. But I feel like Stephanie's really great at like recognition ideas for how to recognize people on a daily basis to really make them feel special and help them grow in your challenge groups and on your team. So if you had a couple ideas on things that you recognize that maybe you can pass down to the team, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I think the thing Joan's talking about in the wall was I just was on another trip. I sound like so spoiled or something, but it's travel season. And I was actually traveling with another coach friend who's local, and we were like bouncing ideas off of each other about challenge groups. And I was like, what about, we celebrate the challenger and we celebrate like coaches, the business side. And I know that there's the Beachbody Challenge where, challengers can say who their coach is, who coached them in a challenge group. They can upload their results and they can be on stage for $100,000 at Summit, right? And they can be daily winners and all that. And the coach does get a little bit of recognition for that too, which is awesome. But so the idea that Joan's talking about is, why not recognize the coaches in our challenge groups? I don't know about you guys, but I have my newer coaches like help run the challenge group. So oftentimes there are challengers in there who aren't like my own customer. And so you could do this within those bigger challenge groups that you're kind of co-running with like your downline. Or if you're just keeping tabs, maybe you've got like a Google spreadsheet or something like that where you could input. It was basically rewarding or recognizing the coach who's helping the challenger. Let's say like Sally, the coach, helps Julie, the challenger, lose 10 pounds. That's like a big deal. And so I'm sure that I can't even remember the names. Julie, the coach, is really celebrating Sally, the challenger, right? Am I right about the names? But what about Julie, the coach? I can't remember. Who, she deserves some celebration too. So I thought, why not develop some sort of recognition program where we're kind of celebrating our coaches for helping their challengers reach those milestones. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like that was a really roundabout way to explain it. So, but yeah, I love that one. And I love, we do lots of recognition on our team. Obviously there's like rank stuff, leadership ladder stuff. I love like coach spotlights. I'm sure you guys do this a ton where, I've got a newer coach, for example, who happens to have a twin sister who's her coach. So I sponsored Michelle sponsored Melissa, and, they're just like killing it right now. And so they're going to be on a Zoom and just kind of talk about what they're doing. And I feel like that's really relatable, really good way for everybody on the team to sort of get a turn, recognize newer emeralds. Maybe they can pop on, do a coach spotlight. So lots of things like that, just finding ways. And oftentimes it's like not your PS coaches. And as your teams grow, you guys will experience this too, where you're like, man, so-and-so in the downline is really killing it. Like she's got, 1,500 PV or whatever is going on, or she just recruited 5 new coaches or whatever it is. And so when you can kind of pick those really consistent, well, even people who are just doing it every so often, but those people in your downline who are rock stars too, that maybe don't belong to you, they definitely deserve love from you. And that's a big deal to, hear from your coach's coach or whatever. So, just things like that, sending people a quick little message to let them know that you're thinking of them, that you love them. And because I think that that's important too, just to have that personal touch, where it's a friendship and not just a business relationship all the time. So, yeah, lots of those.
Elizabeth on our team just said, Michelle is a good friend of mine. She was a trainer in the gym my husband and I ran in MB. Where's MB?
That is so cool. Michelle Cena? How fun. Where is Elizabeth? That is so cool. Oh, there you are. Yeah, they're so awesome. That's so funny. What a small world.
Okay, another one. You have some killer Rockstar Builders on your team. So how do you go about finding people like that?
Yeah, there was a post in the wall recently about this too, and she was talking about like her first year and her, first 5 diamonds and stuff like that being people who came from her challenge group. And I was like, man, I can totally relate to that, because it wasn't until probably like my 6th diamond, who was, an Instagram, just like a gift from God. She was just wonderful. But the others, my first 5, like just absolute rock star, like I think 3 of them are executive leaders as well. 2 of them are 15-star diamonds. Like I'm not even 15-star diamond. They are. So they are just so killer, and they came from my challenge groups. And so, one of them, Jen Richardson, you guys may know her on social media. She's kind of amazing on social media, but we were sort of like following each other on Instagram, and I sort of had a girl crush on her, and she had a girl crush on me, and she had just had a baby. And so I just invited her to a challenge group. So that's how she started, but I sort of saw like, wow, she's really good at social media, and she loved social media. So it was kind of those people who I was stalking a little bit, and I just had those girl crushes on. So what number was it? Challenge yourself to do something uncomfortable. Those were the people who, like Nikki Whiting, I was like, want to be in my challenge group? And she was like, okay, well, and Nikki would laugh if I tell you guys this story, but I never earned a Success Club point from Nikki, because she like ordered Insanity from eBay. And when she finally did order Shakeology, it wasn't on HD. She just ordered the 30-day supply. So we like still laugh at that to this day. She was one of those challengers, and thank goodness I wasn't like, no, you can't join my challenge group. But I was like, all right. And it all worked out in the end. But yeah, most of them come from challenge groups. I'm telling you. And I am here to tell you guys that that's what I'm really trying to get back to. Really just focusing on like my own fitness, running those great challenge groups again. I've got one with really good energy right now, and I'm excited about it. Because it's just easier to show the business that way. And then when they're getting started as new coaches, they know exactly what they need to be doing. And it doesn't need to be like this big, like, okay, so I need to go recruit on social media. Like, no, that's scary, especially for a brand new coach coming into this business. how can you talk about the business really when you haven't necessarily gotten your feet wet in it? So what you can say is, hey guys, I'm a coach now, super excited. I've got baby weight to lose, or I've got this last whatever pounds to lose. I'm going to run this group looking for people who want to join with me. And so they can have that really easy, tangible start. Like, it doesn't have to be so scary. And then that's how they get their start. So it just kind of all snowballs from there. So I hope that answers that question.
Yeah. Hannah wants to know, she says, I love everything about the challenge group. She goes, is there something that you do that helps people be more engaged?
I love stuff like Saturday. I think Shanti came up with that one.
What is it?
Saturday. Like stats.
Yeah.
So people can plug in their stats on Saturday and, get like a Lush bath bomb from me in the mail or something like that. Just like cute, and it doesn't even need to be like the person who lost the most weight. It's just like anybody who participates on that thread, I'll draw a name from that thread or whatever. So anybody, it doesn't have to be like the person who's doing the best in the group. As long as you're plugging in, you might win a prize. So those types of things. Some of my coaches are really creative too. I've seen like plank challenges, like Social Sunday or like Monday Mingle, where you talk about things that aren't necessarily fitness and health related, where you can just keep it fun. I find that a lot of the time when you're really trying to like overly coach people or be like a personal trainer or things like that, it's just sort of like, it's less fun. So if it can just be like a group of friends who are just hanging out and like kind of sharing those missteps, and because we all know this fitness thing is not this like perfect, regimented lifestyle. It's just a journey. Like, we're all going to have our ups and downs. We're going to fall into the pantry and like eat too many chips and stuff. And like, our challengers need to hear that from us too, that we're human. So if you keep it fun and light and simple, I think people like to be there. So hope that helps.
What, unless anybody else has any questions, I'm just going to ask one last question. And I think this one is, what's the biggest thing that you wish somebody had told you in the beginning of this business, or the best tip that you would give to like the newest coach on the call?
Oh, that's so good. That's a tough one because I feel like there's lots, but, and I feel like you guys have probably heard this before, so maybe it'll just be reiteration at this point, but like, don't pay attention to what other people are doing. It can be so distracting and so like heartbreaking. And I went through that time where, like 4 of my PS coaches were in like the top 25. And I was basing a lot of my worth as a coach on that. And I was like, how are they doing that? And I can't even do that. Like, I brought them into this business and I'm not even close to that. I was like 60, which was great, but I wasn't even looking at it like that. Like, dude, Stephanie, you're like number 60. That's awesome. I wasn't even seeing that what I was doing was good too. I was comparing myself to what my coaches were doing and what other people were doing. And it's just so distracting. And like I talked about earlier, like finding your joy, like that sucked my joy out of the business so fast. And that's what comparison will do to you. So I know it's hard. And maybe this will hurt some people's feelings and maybe it won't, but unfollow people. You don't have to defriend them, but if it's somebody that you're finding yourself like every time you see their stuff, and maybe this is like, I feel like I should read Gabby for saying this. It's like, it's sad, it's kind of sad to say it, but if you really feel like you're falling into that trap, first of all, you probably need Gabby, but also in the meantime, just unfollow. There's no harm in that. Like, if like you have to protect your mindset, you really have to fiercely protect it. And if that person who's like, I'm doing so great at everything, if that's like really distracting you, then just don't pay attention, so, and then do personal development. So, but try not to fall into the comparison trap. It's so tough, you guys, and we're all human, so we've all done it, but those are just some of the things that have helped a little bit for me.
Yeah. I think, it was just recently that I heard this little mantra that Gabby does, and she was talking about how she was down at this whatever, this gig that she was speaking at, and she was in Mexico, and she was trying to send an email from like their little help desk over to the like hotel lobby desk so that they could print it for her so that she could bring it on stage with her. But the email address was really, really super long, and it was like a pain in the butt, and she was really frustrated, and she was kind of being rude to the person at the desk. And she stepped back for a second and she said, "She is me." And it changed everything. So I think you can do it in both ways. So like you can say it when you're being the asshole who thinks you're more special than somebody else. And you can also say it when you think somebody else is more special than you, because the light that you're seeing in that person is a direct reflection of the light within you. So if you're looking at a coach and you're being like, oh my God, they're so amazing and I can't believe they can do this, this, and that, like you can too. Everything that you need to get where you want to go has already been put in you. So I think that that's such a good tip. Just stop that and go, she is me, or he is me, if it's an awesome dude coach. Like,
I love that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah. And then also I think just remembering too, and this is something that Stephanie and I have talked about a lot, is that, you know, focusing on controlling the controllable is what will get you the stuff that you want. But when you're focusing on, I'm not at this rank, then you're focusing on lack, and that's just going to create way more lack, and then it's going to make it harder for you to get to where you want to go. And, you know, I don't know if you've listened to this call, but there's an awesome call by Chelsea Pearson where she's talking about building for income and building for volume rather than building for rank, and how rank is just basically the limiting factor. Like you can cap out at a certain rank. So unless you're, you know, capping out at rank, you still can be making more money. And if that's your goal, then focusing on controlling the controllable and placing people properly in your downline is what's going to get you what you want, not like harping on every single person around you to like do what you want them to do instead of what they want to do. And I think the last point I was just going to make is like, you're exactly where you need to be. So where you are right now is where you're supposed to be, and where you'll be learning everything that you need to learn in order to push yourself forward. So that was an awesome call. Thank you.
I'm glad. Thank you for having me. I hope, you know, we can all leave a little bit more empowered. Like I have takeaways from what you just said. And like, I was like, yeah. And I just want to say too, like lack sometimes, you know, when you're in that lack or that lull phase of your business, oftentimes I see a lot of this happening where you're like, well, you know, since this is bad, I'm not even going to worry about like doing the small stuff. But it's like, it's so backwards, you know, and I think that that's so applicable for like right now and kind of like where we're all at. We're waiting for Summit. We're waiting for that big boost and that big momentum rush and stuff like that. And a lot of people are just waiting, and it's backwards. Like we've got to still be like trucking along. It might be more of a struggle right now, but you still want to like be doing those little things, because otherwise you're going to have to work so much harder, you know, in August, if you're not doing the little things right now. So
absolutely. Like the worst thing you can do is when it's not going well is take a step back.
Yeah.
Worst. Because it's like, you're just ending things for yourself.
It's so tough.
You're taking your business's life right there.
Sad. It makes me sad when I see it. So don't do it.
All right. Well, thank you. Kat said, love everything on this call. Thank you, Stephanie. Bowie said, great information from this call. Thank you so much. Love it. Kat also hashtag y'all need Gabby. Beth said, thank you, Stephanie. Great call. Kelly, awesome call. Amazing call. Loved your story. Candy, absolutely. Nicole, thanks so much. It was amazing and motivating. And Sarah said, this was perfect for my first call. Thank you. So
awesome, Sarah.
Loves you just as much as I do.
Thanks for coming tonight. It was cool to see everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to throw the recording up on our team page, and I'll see you at Summit.
Yay! Can't wait. Bye, you guys.
Bye, guys.